You have been cordially invited to a world of wonder and intrigue, of steam and invention, of magic and mysteries, where nobles wave playbills at scientists who, deep in thought, nearly trip over pixies delivering news to tinkerers beneath the stage of New Europa. Sit back and enjoy the scene as the actors act, the singers sing, and the players play out the adventures of Castle Falkenstein.
And we're live. Like 1 second before I said we were live because I hit the button by mistake. Hi, everyone. It's Friday and we're all super tired from our work week. I am Wandering DM. I'm Simon. Hello, welcome to Castle Falkenstein, our penultimate episode, if I'm correct. I'm playing, of course, Captain Jonathan von Bront, the elf soldier. On this train ride to, well, actually we finally arrived to Geneva. So we finally stepped off the train after an entire season.
Kind of ran off the train.
Yeah, actually we yeah, that's true. And this stream, like all of our streams here at Wandering DM, is sponsored by Magehan Press. If you want to go check out their books over at store.magehanpress.com, you can use code WanderingDM to get 15% off. They are going to announce a new book soon, so stay tuned. It's hilarious and probably something that I am going to use in the future. So check it out. Check out all of their books at store.magehandpress.com. Before we start playing tonight, I just want to say that we're missing Clint tonight. Kenny's not here. He'll be back for the finale. But let's go around the table, introduce the rest of our cast, and and tell us who you are, who you'll be playing, and we'll start with Deirdre.
Oh, hey all, you know me, your friendly neighborhood Prax, and tonight I'm the Contessa Lucrezia Sofia Fioravanti. And yes, this train ride into Geneva has been absolutely wonderful. Everything is fine. There's absolutely no reason why, somebody might be upset with multiple people on this platform at the moment.
Yep. And, PB, tell us who you are.
Hi, I'm PB, and today I'm playing Isolina Atenas Montiel, a young woman from Barcelona who just got married a few days ago, I think in game time. And I was just on her way to her honeymoon with her beautiful wife Esme, and there are two new hedgehogs from an alternate dimension, I have to assume. Arsenio and Marcelo. And I'm looking forward to seeing where the rest of our honeymoon takes us. Now that there's like those scenes in SNL with Bill Hader's character, Stefan. Like this is what it feels like. Like this train ride's got necromancers, it's got secret artifacts, it's got spies and time travel. It has everything you could want, and even hedgehogs from a different universe. Feels a lot like that. But that's me, and that's what I'm doing. Just doing my best, having some fun on my honeymoon.
Cool. And our host, I was going to say storyteller, but that's for another game. Our host for the evening, Chris Geary, hi.
Hello, Simon. Thank you. Thank you, as always, for having us on your channel. I am Chris Geary, and I am the host for the evening of Adventures in Castle Falkenstein. I want to thank the audience for joining us tonight, and yeah, let's move on to the recap.
All right.
Last episode, on Adventures in Castle Falkenstein, the cast recalculated their plan to keep the captain and the artifacts safe from ne'er-do-wells. During their planning session, one Benjamin Talbot revealed himself to the group in his way to warn them of the presence of the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn, who turned out to be one Lady Maribel. As the pieces came together, the cast sent messages out to their contacts via telegraph. Clint chose to seek out Lady Graven to send a message inquiring about who put a contract on the captain, while the Contessa requested Tristan to send a telegraph on her behalf at the train station. Clint headed off to meet with Lady Graven. As he did, he noticed Esme tinkering away in her and Iselina's room as he walked past the sleeper cabins. After a brief interchange with Clint, Esme headed to the parlor car to meet back up with the group. At Lady Graven's cabin, Clint discovered her body, collapsed on the floor with one arm stretched out, still holding her pocket watch. She'd had her neck slit, and she'd bled from her eyes. A faint aura hovering about the watch, its face black and numberless for a moment before the inky darkness dissipated, leaving only a mystical energy about it. After this discovery and reporting it to the train's lead conductor, Clint returned to the group to inform the rest of the cast about Lady Graven's death, spurring the Contessa to ritually seal the room from evil as any good Italian noblewoman might. Concern fell upon our cast, while Clint became noticeably agitated by it all. When Lady Maribel made herself visible and taunted the group, Clint took decisive action, pulling his spell gun and showing everyone the power of the American spell slinger. He fired a shot, a magical ordnance created from the essence of pure dragon fire. Enraged, Clint's round expanded as it flew toward the woman of his ire and turned into a roaring ball of fire the size of a baseball. When the bullet made landfall, it exploded, engulfing the wagon waiting to be loaded onto the train as Lady Maribel ducked behind said wagon. The crowd dispersed. The police were now on their way. The cast shifted to a focus on damage control. After an attempt by the Contessa to obfuscate what happened, the captain made chase after Lady Maribel, and the Contessa made chase after the captain, whom they were trying to keep safe. As Iselina and Clint observed the crowd to cover the captain's charge toward where they believed Lady Maribel to be escaping, the captain came face to face with Herschel, the Frankensteinian bodyguard of one Lady Maribel, who turned out to be a necromancer. Von Brunt drew his sword and swung true across Herschel's neck, driving his saber blade through the monster's sewn-together flesh and beheading the beast of a man. As the scene began to settle, and the escaping Maribel headed into Geneva and on to wherever her destination may have been, the cast tidied up the scene, making nice with the authorities. Clint, meanwhile, ended our session by walking calmly into the night. Who hired Lady Maribel to kill the captain? Will there be another attempt on the captain's life? Where is Clint going? As those questions hang in the air, let us rejoin our cast as they continue their performance upon New Europa's stage. But before we draw back the curtain and solve another murder, we will consult the fortune deck as we do each session. What do the cards have in store for our heroic cast members? Let's see here. Let me pull some cards. And let's do a help, hinder, harm. Help. We have the 10 of hearts. Let me get that into screen. The 10, meaning the end. It is the final conclusion of some emotional connection. Could this be the rage that Clint felt upon seeing Maribel's taunt? Could this be the captain's romantic dalliance with the woman who they now know to have been a necromancer out to kill him? Maybe it has something to do with other things going on in the plot. What might hinder them, though, and hinder that closure that they seek? The Four of Clubs, for the balance card. Clubs, fiery passion. Hindered by passion that is unkept, that is unbalanced. Can Clint, who walked off into the night, keep himself from leaving yet another wake of fire? What might harm our plot and crew this evening? The Two of Hearts, emotional communication. They should be wary about how they make their plays. Maybe an intellectual path is better than one filled with heartfelt pleas. And with that, let us return to the scene, the train station of Geneva, where our, the Contessa and our Captain von Brandt are with Tristan and the guards on the platform. Esme is out there as well. And Isolina, I believe you came down out of the train to kind of survey, or were you still staying in the window?
I really wish the hotkeys on Zoom worked outside of the Zoom box. No, Isalina, what was she doing? She had left out because I remember saying that I loved my wife because she was doing all that stuff. So I think I remember. I was looking for a ride for like something to chase the necromancer. Right. And then like it was just like not feasible for that to happen. So I was just observing everyone that was getting on the train.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm retracing my steps here.
Yeah. I was just trying to remember if you were on the platform or if you were still in the train doing that.
I think I was on the platform going to the train, just
Gotcha.
looking at everyone and seeing who they were.
Right. So as you are kind of scanning things, and you had noticed Clint making his way off into the night in Geneva, is there any particular action that you wanted to take or anything that you wanted to do? Or are you going to wait for everyone else to return? Are you going to collect Esme?
Well, she was over there spinning her tail, so I was just doing the recon for and if when we return back to the train, that we wouldn't get caught off guard.
Fair
because
enough.
I am just Isolina Montiel Atenas. I'm just a woman on her honeymoon, enjoying her time on the train after this tragic event, you know? No one gives a shit about who I am, so I'm perfectly fine walking around, looking at everyone, and just even making small talk with whomever, just seeing who seems the most suspicious. And doing basically what I've been doing since we found out that the Capitan was out to be murdered. Just looking at everyone, making sure who seems shifty, who doesn't seem shifty. Trying to keep an eye on who does and who doesn't, stuff like that. And also, like, probably once I get on the train, just making a round over towards where the Capitan's bed is, where his, like, bunk is. Just to see if anyone is just messing around with it, just to find out. You never know.
Fair enough. Okay. So you kind of take in everything as you're doing that. And as you're kind of collecting what's going on, let's fill in some of those blanks, and let's turn back over to the captain and the Contessa, who, when we left, were finishing up with the authorities in Tristan. give us a little bit of a recap of where you two left off and where you're headed next.
The Contessa finished making all of the cops believe that the Maribel was a bomber and that she's a total ditz. Well, that the Contessa is a practical noblewoman and therefore shouldn't be taken seriously, but she is a ditz. And Maribel is a bomber and therefore should have multiple police deployed across the city. And then I think she was trying to herd the captain back towards the train.
Yeah, because I wanted to go and catch up to Lady Maribel. But
Yeah, but we
unfortunately,
didn't.
there weren't any carriages or coaches nearby.
Yeah.
Not that you could have gotten to in time to keep up with the carriage. So you're headed back to the parlor car then, or where on the train when you say back to the train?
Well, the Contessa told the police that she would be on the train.
Mm-hmm. Gonna go to the bar car, parlor car, your
I think she'd
private cabin.
I think she would ask the captain to accompany her to the private cabin just to check on other things that were left behind.
Fair
Particularly
enough.
after she told the police that there was a priest on the train who might be able to deal with, the remains of the undead abomination.
Indeed.
And, there's something that she needs to keep safe that's currently locked up and warded in her room. She just wants to make sure that it's still there.
Okay. So that's what Isolina will see, PB, from that end. Esme will finish up the statement she gives, and she'll return toward the train, and she will have seen you, and she will actually make her way toward you, since you are on your honeymoon, to kind of catch back up and reconnect and put kind of, don that particular persona again. What would you like to do when Esme catches up to you?
I will, once she catches up to me and catches my attention, I will turn around and I will say, "Oh, Esme." It's like, "Oh, Esme," and I'll like grab her, or like gently like grab her, I guess, arm, and with a very intimate touch, rub my hand down and then like loop our hands together, and I'll just start inanely speaking about, oh, did you see the horrible thing that happened outside? I cannot believe that someone would do that. I'm so glad that they were not on the train and interrupted our honeymoon and blah 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 blah, blah, stuff like that.
And she'll just, without skipping a beat, pick up right with you, exchange, participate in that exchange, talk about how a bomber would have been so scary to have been on the train. It was so good that it only happened in the station. It was still tragic nonetheless, so on and so forth.
Exactly, like the whole "I'm so glad you're safe," blah blah blah, and just that entire time, just playing it up and looking around, just seeing who there is to see. Now that I have an excuse to look, in one direction for prolonged periods of time. Now that Esme is next to me.
Okay. As you start to walk back toward the train, she'll actually kind of slip a hand around the small of your back and lean her head on your shoulder. You'll notice that in she has one of the pouches with Marcelo in it as she's walking. And Marcelo kind of looks up at you and looks up at Esme, and you're carrying Arsenio still, correct?
Yeah.
And the two of them will make eye contact, and they'll actually start chattering back and forth at one another.
I don't even know what that sounds like, but I love it. I'd like to imagine it's squeaking, but I feel like it's not. So I'm not going to look it up. I'm just going to live in my fantasy world that these guys squeak
Okay,
at each
we'll
other.
go with it. These particular hedgehogs squeak, regardless of what actual hedgehogs do. Squeaker, squeak, squeakums.
Exactly. And I am. That is fucking adorable. And I will see this out of the corner of my eye, but thank God my perception's exceptional because otherwise this would be very distracting to me.
Mm-hmm.
I can pay attention to this and everything else in the world and appreciate it all the same.
Indeed.
So I will
Is
just
there anything beyond that that you'd like to do before making your way back to? And where on the train would you like to head? Would you like to head back to the parlor car, to your sleeper cabin, the bar
I'm
car,
definitely
somewhere else?
I'm definitely doing a round. I'm doing
Okay.
a round of the I was gonna say the ship of the train.
Mm-hmm.
Feeling it would be easy to be like, oh, I went the wrong way, silly me. I was so distracted by you and the events that just happened to
Okay.
let me go to one end of the train and then make my way back.
Okay, since
Just
your
so I get
sleeper car is toward the front, I'm guessing that means that you'll circle back towards the baggage cars, and then
Mhm.
kind of get on the train there and walk your way through to the
Yeah.
front. Is that kind of what you're saying?
Well, I don't know where people get on a train. So
You
I
can
am
you can get on most anywhere. So in this case, they would have people lining up. Those with the higher end tickets, your first class tickets, would be getting on toward the front of the train, at the steps that are between the lead parlor car and the rear sleeper car. And in the back, the coach tickets would be between the baggage car and then the coach sleeper car is where they'd be getting on.
so I'd probably get on before the sleeper cars and make my way down uh towards the end where the sleeper cars are. I think my first priority is to like end up somewhere near where the Capitan sleeps, which is where in one of these sleeper cars, right?
Yeah, in the common sleeper car was where his bed was, where you guys found the dead cobbler. He last time when he slept, he was in Lady Maribel's room, slept, so to speak.
Well,
I did fall asleep at some point.
Yes, there was some sort of sleeping that happened.
So yeah, I make my way down that way and just reach the end as far as I can go. I won't go into like baggage or luggage or anything like that. I
Okay.
just want to see faces, new
Mm-hmm.
faces.
Okay.
And then once we reach the end, I'm like, oh, I can't believe I forgot. I was so distracted by you and this event, whatever. And then I make my way back until we reach closer to the front,
Okay.
where our rooms are. And I'll just, just peek and make sure that everything is good and safe and not being tampered with.
Mm-hmm.
And then continue on to where we usually convene. Maybe even get a glass of vino. I don't know. Mornings.
Well, you're going to go
days
through
just
the
happen.
bar car at least once. So now Tristan's not in the bar car, but you still have access.
Exactly. So I will we'll see how we're feeling. We're feeling after the walk.
Okay. All right. So while you are taking your walkabout to kind of survey the train and the people, I'm assuming you're also taking note of the people that are getting on, the new arrivals in Geneva. And we have the Contessa and the captain heading toward the front of the train, where the first class passengers are now kind of being lined up to be let on. You'll pass that line and make your way on, as you already do have tickets. Rolf is the one at the front with that group, and we'll just kind of like take note of you heading toward the train, and not. I mean, that's just about it. He just kind of takes note and nods. What actions would the two of you like to take?
Signore Capitan, would you be so kind as to accompany me to check on a small item in my room? Given the cause of events, I wouldn't want things to be lost.
I understand, and I figure that if I say no, I'm gonna get another slap in the face.
No, I probably won't do that again. You do understand that was partially the drama?
And partially what? Concern for my well-being?
Yes.
I'm flattered. Well, lead the way. We'll go see your, thing.
Well, I'm glad that's what you're going to try and call it. And she's gonna walk slightly in front of him, and she's like, screw it, I'm just gonna have fun with this, and sashay in front of him.
I look around. Is anybody looking at us?
Some, you'll notice some people are just watching you walk past because you're walking past the line. However, most of them recognize that when the conductor doesn't say or do anything, that you must be a returning passenger rather than a new passenger. So they're like, nobody's miffed or anything about it. You do notice that there are a couple of the officers, the constables, that are taking note that you make it back safely onto the train, is kind of the perception. They don't seem to be looking at you sternly, is more of watchful. And then you'll also pick up on just some people just watching the two of you. You don't know if it's because they saw what you did with Herschel, or if they're just kind of in shock and kind of looking around at whatever's moving.
Alright, no one seems to be suspiciously eyeing us or anything.
Nothing suspicious that stands out, no.
Okay. Then I'll follow after the Contessa.
And she's gonna go straight to her cabin to check on that item that the good Monsignor asked her. Well, he warded and she just secured, so she's going to make sure that that's still there, considering, dead bodies, explosions, necromancers. Could all be fancy distractions.
Okay. You'll make your way to your sleeper car. The door seems intact. It doesn't look as though anything is out of place. Do you open it with the key? Do you do anything in particular before opening it?
She would definitely observe her door and make sure that there's nothing out of place on it, that it hasn't been touched in any way. I'm just gonna spend this just for the extra one on her perception. That's good. And I mean, like, does it look like the lock's been messed with?
You don't seem to see any signs of tinkering or anyone trying to forcibly open the lock.
All right, then. She'll pull out the key, kind of. If doesn't matter if anyone's in the hall or not, she's still playing like they are. And she's going to, glance over her shoulder and smirk, and then wink at the captain and unlock the door. And then do one of, put her finger behind her head and crick her finger at him.
I'm following. Getting mixed signals, but I'm following.
Well, welcome to the Contessa. She gives everyone mixed signals. It's what she does. Until she doesn't.
Excellent. And the two of you enter. Inside, everything looks perfectly as you left it. Nothing really out of place. Is there anything in particular that you wanted to look for?
She's going to immediately go to her side valets, not the one that she uses to transport like her dresses and things, but the, jewelry and, documents valets that she has, that she had the Monsignor Ward, because she put the statue in that. And she's got that kind of hidden in the false bottom that's in that. This is not the first time she's had to transport an item that wasn't necessarily supposed to be in her care.
Fair enough. It is still there. Looks unblemished, untouched.
And all right then. Well, that's a good thing. How are you, Capitan? Surviving?
Well, yes, of course. I mean, thank God I had you to protect me.
At that point, it wasn't about protecting you, it was about damage control. And controlling the story.
Yes, well, thank you for that. I realized that after killing this thing, I figured I would have been arrested or something.
Maybe not. Possibly. It's always possible that if you kill someone in public that you could get arrested. So it's better if you have a very hysterical woman who's chasing after you and is concerned about your safety.
I'll remember that next time I need to off someone in the busy street.
How about you don't do it in the busy street? Like a side street is usually better if you have to. Or a private room. Or a private bedroom is even better. No, I'm not here to kill you.
Okay.
I need you alive.
Good to know. You had me scared for a moment.
I even promised your colonel that I'd return you in the exact condition in which I borrowed you.
Well, if you were to kill me, that could have been a lie. I mean...
No, I'm not going to kill you. I need you alive to provide me with security.
Yes, well... Seems like in this case... Clint's instinct was better than mine.
Instinct about her being a problem? Yes. Shooting a fireball in the middle of a train platform? Maybe not. What if he had hit one of the engines?
It was kind of careless, I have to admit. But I mean... Americans and their guns.
Admittedly, I don't think I've ever seen a gun like that before.
Me neither.
I mean, this was very much a... This was impressive and just, was a gun. I've seen guns before. Not usually my taste if I wanted to deal with a problem. So messy.
No, I'd like to have a few of those.
I'm sure if you ask very nicely, he'll share.
Part of me doesn't think so. I think this pistol has some sort of personal value to it.
Probably. But he might share the story behind it.
Yeah, he might give me the name of who built it or whatnot, and I can get one made for myself.
Exactly. The question is, would you be able to fire it?
Oh, I can handle just about any size of guns.
I'm sure you can.
I'm getting side-eyed from my girlfriend.
My God. I'm sure you can. I'm sure you're very good at handling all sorts of weapons.
Yep. One-handed, two-handed,
Hmm. I mean, apparently you were impressive enough that Maribel didn't kill you right off the top. I still want to know who the hell she was. She wasn't any of an actual consequence. I would have known by now.
Well, you remind me. I can
Hmm.
finally add that to my list. I slept with a necromancer.
Was it on your list of things to do?
Actually, not, so I'm gonna have to add it and then check it.
I'm sure that there are better people you could try that with.
I know, but like, now that I think of it, I thought it would have involved a lot more bones than anything. Like her being a necromancer.
Probably more blood if she really got into it.
Maybe. But that could also have been a vampire.
Don't think I've ever had to deal with any one of them. Unless you count the the money sucking asshole bankers in Vienna as vampires.
Oh, they can be. You know that vampires exist.
Yes.
Okay. Just checking.
It's not a surprise. There are many things that exist. You have ears of an elf. I don't judge you for that.
That's because I'm an elf.
I understand. That's what I'm saying. You are an elf. I don't judge you for that. There are many people with very complex bloodlines. I only judge people based on their actions and how quickly, well,
They fire a gun.
that or how quickly they get distracted.
I figure my euphemism just went. Whew.
Oh no.
Okay.
If you get too distracted, then the gun goes off much too early, doesn't it, Captain?
I have perfect control over my firearms.
I'm not sure you do if you only stayed in one language that wasn't your first when you were visiting the good Lady Maribel.
No, don't add anything to it. I'm being humiliated.
Not necessarily. I'm sure you can prove yourself eventually, but I think we should go find Esme and Isolina.
I reach out for the door handle, and I look at the Contessa and I say, "But are you sure we don't have a little more time?"
I don't know. How fast do you fire that gun?
On that note, we will circle back to that lovely segue. Isolina.
I am just walking, arm in arm with my beautiful wife down this train, doing things like making sure we are safe from weird people on this train, which I am assuming I have not seen as of yet.
There are some new faces. You will notice that there is 2 new conductors that have joined the staff, as well as 3 new waiters. There are more people coming on board, so they seem to be beefing up the staff to be able to handle the added passenger list.
What is the that one mean? That symbol?
The club?
Yeah, what is that one?
That's for physical.
For physical?
Or are you doing the spade?
Spade would be that one, the spade. That is
okay.
for these like social graces and things like that.
Yeah, like the upside down heart.
Yeah, the upside down heart.
Yeah.
Spades.
For social stuff. Okay.
Yeah,
Cool.
it's like social graces, connections, things of that nature. That's spades. Diamonds is for your perception.
And then hearts is for that one's. I know one of them is courage, but I don't know the rest.
Yeah, so it's interpersonal. So like courage, charisma. What else is on here? Performance. Anything where you're trying to connect like emotionally. Leadership.
That makes sense. It's just, walking down, just looking at everything. I'm assuming we have reached at least the end of the car and we are on our way to the front of the car at this point.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw nothing in the Capitan's bunk, right?
Correct. Everything is still. Let's see. You turn. Refresh my memory, Simon. You did turn over the key to Father Korsakov, correct? When he asked the
Yep.
key to the trunk, or do you still have that?
The key to the footlocker that was at the foot of my bed?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I gave it to Father Korsakov.
Okay. Yeah, so everything seems to be in order. All the linens have been refreshed, and the trunk has the key in it, or the footlocker has the key in it, as any of the other ones do if they would have been left empty.
Okay. Then I will continue on from there and move forward.
So the next car would be the common seating car, the coach seating car. Just had the rows and rows of seats.
And I make my way a little bit more slowly down that car.
Mm-hmm.
Just feigning that it's more crowded or whatever, smaller. I don't know. We'll find an excuse to move slowly and really, pay attention to the faces there, seeing if I notice any symbols, any markings that would make me think that they are a part of an organization. Tattoos,
Mm-hmm.
jewelry that is a little bit out of place, such as like the brooches from last season and stuff like that. As I walk down and I see all these new faces looking for interesting scars that are not common, one would say, and things such as that. Again, I'm just scouting this entire train just to see if there's anybody who wants to murder the captain or steal something, or they could be necromancers, like just listening for shifty things.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess now looking for sutures on necks and body parts now that I've said that's a thing people can do.
Yeah. You don't see anybody stitched together, but that one is something that you kind of are a little hyper vigilant about currently, and you do not notice. Did you want to play any cards related to your actions, or are we just going off of that exceptional?
We'll throw one out just
perception?
to get it out of my hand.
Okay. Okay, so an extra point with that 2 of spades. Boost that exceptional from 10 to 11. You will note that a couple of the surly figures that you had seen before that have been on this train since at least Barcelona, you think one of them may have been there prior to boarding at Barcelona, are still on the train. They do still kind of give you that feeling like, hey, there might be something going on there, but they haven't done anything in 2 days. No direct actions, nothing that has been within your purview to witness. So they might just be creepy people just in general, or if not creepy, just that sort of underworld sort, and they give you that vibe. You've seen that before, especially when you spent time at the docks in Barcelona. Certain people just carry themselves in a way that says they do not follow society's rules if they don't want to. Beyond them, you will note nothing really from the common car other than a woman that seems to be by herself with 6 children. You don't remember seeing a mother that had 6 children to care for. She may not actually be the mother of them. She might be like one woman that's watching over multiple people's children while maybe they went to send a message at the train station, use the restroom or something of that nature. You're not 100% sure, but that definitely does stick out to you that one woman's trying to corral 6 children while they're boarding new people onto the train. But that's about it in the coach car.
I was going to ask, did she get all 6 of her children out of a magic top hat that brings children from the children dimension?
There is no magic top hat to be seen. So if so, that might be a euphemism.
No.
Was
No, I was just referring to the hedgehogs this time. I was being all like, call back to the first episode. There's now a bunch of children instead of a bunch of hedgehogs.
Yeah. No. Nobody tips over a top hat and children start, spilling out.
Sure, I'm gonna start. Yep.
Wasn't there when we first got on this train? Wasn't there someone you described like that also? Someone who didn't look like the mother but was just wrangling other children.
Yes, you've seen. You absolutely do remember someone who seems to have been like traveling as, or that maybe that was their profession. They were a nanny or a maid of some sort, and they were used to taking care of other people's children. Absolutely.
But different person.
No. Now that you think of it, it's that same person. She just has more children with her than before.
Oh God, this is gonna be fun for someone like me. So as I see this woman, and I'm with Esme this time. I'm going to just, the closest one to her, whatever. I'm just gonna be, whatever they are. I'm just gonna be like, oh, aren't you just the most adorable looking thing? Oh, look at those eyes. Esme, look at this. Look at their eyes. They're so beautiful. I look over to the woman and I'm like, are these your children, senora?
She smiles at you and says, "Oh no, dear, not mine. I'm just watching them for their mothers while they get a needed break. Isn't that right, children? Or letting your mommies just relax for a minute."
Like, yeah,
Basically,
all different languages.
Yep.
It's like I'm just like, oh, that is so kind. I'm just like, do trains provide that service, or are you doing this just out of your goodwill?
I'm used to it. I'm just used to it. People seem to notice that I have a way, and so I've seen enough harried mothers to know when they need to have a moment to themselves.
That is so kind. I'm assuming this is something you do on a regular basis. Then not every person could handle 6 little angels all at once.
I am headed to Munich for a new position at a house there. Yes.
Oh, they're gonna be so lucky to have you. And I'm just like doting on the children as I talk with her. Just trying to sort of gauge what she's saying to me. Maybe even paying extra attention to her now that I know that she's been on the train the entire time. I mean, not that that's a suspicious thing to do. It's just, at this point I'm suspicious of literally everything.
Okay.
And so I'm just paying attention to see if there's any of her clothing has a special marking. She has any special markings or cards or keys or anything like that. And I'm like, oh, you're going to Munich. Oh, it's a beautiful city from what I hear. Have you been there before? Scruffle somebody's hair.
No, ma'am. I've been in Barcelona my entire life, Senora. It's only recently that I've had to look for other work, and um, my previous employer was kind enough to reach out to some friends of theirs who live in Munich, and they got me this job.
Oh, that is extremely kind of them. Especially, especially from somewhere so far. I'm assuming they no longer needed a nanny, or
Indeed, ma'am. Their children are full grown.
uh, to find, the bird is finally flying out of the coop, as they say.
Indeed.
It's like, so you've been working in Barcelona your whole life. Would you not mind me asking with which family you used to work with?
Uh, the Romero family.
Man, do I wish I knew where my notebook with all of my notes was, because that's a name I recognize. Romero. Gilbert Romero? No.
Uh, wait.
There was a Romero. What are the
I remember
chances?
Ramirez.
Ramirez is Santi. This is
Yeah.
no, this was someone at the party. The first night.
It is this one. Oh, that's so lucky. Hold on, everyone. Enjoy the frantic. Just the Romero family. You say, oh, it would be so bad. You know what? Hey, I have social grace things. Which one did you say it was? It was
That's
the thing.
the spades.
The spades. What do I have in social graces? Hey, I'm good at social graces. Oh, it's spades. Oh, is this where I want to use this card?
I don't know.
Oh man, is it worth? You know what? Who knows? Maybe I'll find out more. People in service always know a lot of things. Whoop bam. There we go.
Nice. You'll see as you start to put on your social graces and kind of show your station, her language or her body language changes. She starts to show you a lot more deference, and instead of just being a kind stranger who she was being a little bit familiar with but still formal because you are a stranger, as is the custom in Spanish cultures, she is more formal with you in how she presents herself and how she speaks and looks and reacts to anything that you say or do. So you can pretty much tell that she has been some form of servant for a number of years. The training just seems instinctive.
Mm-hmm.
And what do you request of her?
First of all, what do I know about the Romero family?
They're not a huge noble family. They're a smaller merchant level noble family, similar to your parents. They made their station through mercantile avenues rather than bloodlines, and like royal heraldries types of things. They own a number of import-export operations and primarily deal with foods. They are an older couple who had children later in life, and that's why, if you remember correctly, you think that's why they needed the nanny, is because they were older when they had kids. They didn't have as much energy as a younger set of parents might.
And as we continue talking, I'm like, oh, the Romero family. I do remember them. Kind folks. I remember playing with their children now and then whenever my parents would attend social functions where they were. What family are you heading to now over in Munich?
The Foltz, Eric and Dorothea Foltz. I don't know much about them, but Vicente said, I'm sorry, Senor Romero said that they had some business contracts for shipping figs and olives to Munich for them, as well as a few other things like wine and from the region, and that they were expecting children. And already had a young one and looking for a nanny to help out around the house. So,
Both doesn't ring any bells to me, right?
no, none.
Good. And I will stop scouring the notes.
Yeah.
I will. I was like, oh, that is so. That's so gracious of them, as and so very lucky. To find that. Are you looking forward to you moving to Munich?
I don't know anything about it. I know it's colder than Barcelona. I'm just grateful to still have an employer. The Romeros were very gracious, but because they had no more place for me, I could not expect them to continue to employ me without actually having work.
Absolutely. I could totally see that. But with someone with your skills, especially managing all of these children, um, and growing up with them, I cannot imagine that your skills could not be used in many, many places. I'm sure the Foles family is going to be very, very grateful to have you in their lives.
Thank you. That's very kind of you.
And just like I'm sure the mothers of these little ones are very grateful to have you right now.
About that time is when one woman returns and says, "Oh yes, Francino is a blessing. Come on, little ones," and she'll take, and two of them will kind of peel off and go with her as they head to their seats a little further back in the car.
I'll just like wave to them goodbye. Um, and I will say, oh, you must have seen so many people come and go. If you knew to pick up when you saw a harried mother pass by with her children.
Uh, yes, there's something different about a mother, no matter how composed she is, when you can tell that she needs a break.
Now that is a skill that not everyone can have. And I'm glad that you have it in moments like this because I cannot even imagine. And I mean, my parents only had one, and I was a handful if what my nanny had to say had any truth to it.
Oh, I'm sure
Oh,
you were lovely, but you kept her on her toes, as any good child should.
that is a very kind way of putting it, Senora. Um, have you, aside from all of these harried mothers with such a keen eye, have you seen anybody else of interest on this train?
Oh, no, Senora. I try to keep to myself as much as I can. It's, I guess, just my training that comes out that helps me notice the mothers and their little ones. When you've done it for 15, almost 20 years, you just kind of get used to it.
That is true. And it is a skill that I'm sure will help you out even in Munich, as different as it will be from beautiful Barcelona.
I sure hope so.
Well, that was a fruitful conversation. Well, it was a very, very nice meeting you, Senora.
And you too.
And and I will be like, all right, children, goodbye, goodbye. It would be good for Senora, blah blah blah. And I did get her name right,
For Francina.
Francina. No, last name she just gave me Francina.
Um, Actually, you two never actually introduced yourselves. You got that name from one of the mothers who mentioned it.
Oh, right. Well, it was nice meeting you. I'm sorry I never introduced myself. My name is Isolina Montiel. It was nice meeting you, Senora.
Thank you, Senora Montiel. My name is Francina Padilla.
Padilla?
Yes.
Padilla. All right. Francina Padilla. Well, it was an honor meeting you. And I hope you enjoy your stay in Munich.
I hope so too. Thank you so much for your kindness.
And I will head off. However, what I will do is I do sneak a pouch from Esme's pocket. And while we're talking and I'm playing with the children and stuff like that, the more that she seems less shifty, because she seemed not shifty at all to me, right? She just seemed
not shifty at all. Super good natured. Reminds you a lot of your nanny in the way that she's very even keel and very observant of the children. Didn't really pay a lot of attention to anything that wasn't her business, but for whatever reason, children seemed her business. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's fair. And as I am, where was, because we were going where, Munich? That was our end
Munich.
goal, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna, as I'm playing with the children and such, I dig through one of my pockets where I keep my change, my money.
Mm-hmm.
And I will sort out a fair bit of, a good little chunk of change that I had well, I don't know, it's all euros in Europe, right?
Well,
Not at the
At
time.
not a time. Oh well,
Yeah.
okay. Well, I will take out the money I had, a little bit of the money I had. I want to say translated, but that's not the word that I had already converted
exchange.
into. Yeah, exchange to money that's useful in Munich, whatever that's called at that point in time. And I am like little by little, so she doesn't really notice what I'm doing. It'll just look like I'm just messing with just playing with the kids or whatever. I'm just messing with my skirt as I'm like kneeling there with the children. And I'm just filling up with a little bit of money. And as I say a goodbye, I make sure to like place it in like her bag or something as we're leaving.
Okay.
And then I'm off.
Excellent.
And then I continue on making sure there's no more weirdos on this train.
Okay. You'll make your way through the dining car. There are people just kind of getting things sorted. It's late. It's after dinner, so they're just kind of cleaning things up, and you'll see that this is where you see some of the new waiters that have come in. There are now 3 women and 2 men that seem to be tending toward this car, or tending to this car, not to this car, and they are settling in themselves and getting a bit to eat now that everything is kind of done before getting ready to take off again, as the train will be taking off in about 2.5 hours from now.
Definitely pay special attention to any of the workers, especially if they're new. And right now, when they're all a little bit disheveled and their clothing is a little bit off kilter in places where they might have been hiding certain tattoos or markings or jewelry, just stuff like that. Any markers that I've been just keeping an eye out this entire time for.
You don't seem to notice anything out of the ordinary when it comes to those particular elements. Of the things that you do notice, you'll notice that one of the gentlemen does seem to keep looking at one of the ladies. You don't know if it's some sort of like romantic infatuation or whatnot. It doesn't seem malicious in any way, shape, or form, but he's paying particular attention to her. You will also notice that a different one of the lady waiters who's actually been there, but this is the first time you really got a chance to see her without other things going on, like hedgehogs coming out and running under everybody's feet or whatever it might be. She seems a little bit more like she was brought up in a higher station at some point in her life. Does that make any sense? Her hair looks a little better kept. Her skin looks a little healthier and cleaner. That kind of thing. Could be just genetics. It could be possibly better access to just food, doctors, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, that makes sense. So there is a woman. No,
Mhm.
there's a man looking at a woman.
Mm-hmm.
That is not that woman.
No.
The
So
higher level woman. So she,
Mhm.
but the woman is not looking back at the man.
No. She's actually talking to one of the other lady waiters. So there's 3 women there. 2 of them are conversing. The one of them that looks a little different is just eating. And the 2 gentlemen, one of them's talking to the other one who's not listening because he's paying attention to one of the 2 ladies who are having a conversation of their own.
I have a question about the
Mhm.
lady who is a higher station and she is eating.
Mm-hmm.
How is her cutlery set out?
How's her what?
Cutlery.
Oh, it's standard, whatever's there.
Standard.
Nothing
Does
different
she?
between everybody else's.
I mean, does she like place her utensil? Are they called utensils?
Oh, how does she use them?
Yeah. How does she
Yes.
use them?
She does use them as though maybe she had been taught at one point the finer arts of eating at a fancy setting. Maybe she served in fancier settings and is mimicking what she's seen because that's who she wants to be. That's like her goal for her future. Or maybe she was raised that way at one point.
And which are we still in the same common seating car, or you said we entered the dining car?
This is the dining car.
Okay. Oh man. Oh, I want to play with this so much. I am going to get. Okay. Fuck. Okay. So no. Okay. So what I'm going to do
Mm-hmm.
is I'm going to go over to distracted Monsignor, and is he one of the new ones, the distracted guy?
No, he's been there the entire time. Him and the woman that looks of a higher station, as well as the other gentleman, were the 3 that were serving in that car when the hedgehogs were let loose. The other 2 ladies are new.
Okay. I am going to go over to the guys that I know, and only the guys, not the lady who's also been working here higher station. I'm gonna go over to the guys and I'm going to speak directly to all of them, but mostly paying attention to the guy who's infatuated with that one woman.
Mm-hmm.
I am going to be like, oh, I have not had a moment to thank you for dealing with all of the craziness that has been on this train and still having impeccable service. There's a lot of things on this train that have been a little bit questionable, but your service has not been. And for this, I want to thank you. And I'm going to dig in very purposefully. And we'd be like, Esme, please hold this. And then I am going to like dig in my bag, I guess, is what you have in this time.
Mm-hmm.
And I am going to grab, I'm going to grab tips for the guys who dealt with all of the crazy bullshit. And be like, I would like to give you something a little bit extra for what you have done for all of us here on this train. A show of gratitude. And I'm going to hand each one. And, I hope, just a little bit something to get yourself something nice or somebody else something nice. I say, looking at the guy who's infatuated with the woman, or somebody else. Something nice, and I, quick eyes over towards the women,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm like, isn't that the right Esme?
Oh, yes, indeed. They will be very gracious and thank you. and say it's what we do. The gentleman that was kind of eyeing one of the new ladies who joined will kind of perk up and try, and he's not going to bluster necessarily, but he speaks very confidently and says, yes, that's our job. We try very hard. Thank you for noticing.
I think it was wonderfully brave. I do not know what I would have done if an army of rodents were running at me. Um, and I, pat his, pat his back or whatever, and or shoulder. And I'm also gonna take this moment to just make sure to like the woman who I don't know if she's playing rich or she is rich, and see what her reaction to the situation is, to me not giving her money but giving and only acknowledging these guys.
She'll kind of look you up and down trying to figure out what it is that you're doing, and then you notice that she notices Arsenio and Marcelo,
and oh yeah, go ahead.
She kind of, without it being audible, you can see in her body language, she kind of huffs slightly and then just returns to eating.
Interesting. And so the things I'm looking for in her is I'm trying to differentiate if she's, I don't want to say greedy, but like if that is her goal to gain more money and, any little bit helps to get her up to a higher station. Or if she is already rich and she's just playing, playing the knot, playing a part, I guess.
She looks a little put out by the fact that you ignored her, but so I wouldn't say greedy. She looks kind of, from her facial expression, when you acknowledge those two and not her, she does give a look like that she stifles, like, why did you forget me? Like, I was here too. So she does look a little irritated, but that washes away really quickly as she tries to keep that kind of professional face. Because again, this is her job. And then she starts to take notice of the other things like Marcelo and Arsenio. And then she returns to eating. You think it might be to keep from making any other facial expressions that you could see that would be of displeasure. That would be your assumption. Well, could be your assumption if you wanted to.
That is fair. And yeah, I played up the dude. And so I am just like, I'll turn it over to the two new ones, the two new women. And I will say, and, just look at them first, but then acknowledge the rest of the room. And like, I wish you all the best of luck. I'm sure you will all do just as wonderfully as the rest on this wonderfully interesting train ride. Until the end of the line. It was nice speaking to you all, and thank you very much. And I will pat Esme on the hand as we start going off. And I like turn to speak to Esme. I'll make sure Esme is on the side where the woman is. And so when I turn to speak to Esme, I do want to keep my peripheral on possibly Rich Lady.
Okay.
Just to see her reaction again, to see if like it's that sneer that I recognize from like all rich people when you do something they don't like, one way or another, or if it's just one of those just a regular person sneering. There's a difference. There's a haughtiness.
She seems to actually glare at the two gentlemen as you leave. She doesn't even look at you. She just glares at them.
Okay.
And you could assume, based on her body language and the look she gives them, that she's more mad that they didn't say anything than she is with the fact that you didn't acknowledge her.
what? Pop off. Hell yeah. You fuck them up. Um, and I continue on. The things you have to do to figure out who's trying to kill you.
Yeah,
Sometimes you
no,
just have to step on
here.
a couple of toes.
There you go.
Um,
Hey,
and
you think somebody's getting a swift kick later?
Pop off. Hell yeah. It's okay. I'll leave her a gracious tip later. And whenever she like brings us food or like I see her picking up something, I will like wherever the tip is that the other people leave, I will slip in something a little bit more hefty, a little bit
Okay.
more than what I gave the guys.
Okay.
Um,
We will keep that in mind for the future. As you make it into the bar car, we're going to shift gears back to the Contessa and the captain, who I'm guessing are going to head the opposite direction about the time you are making your way or having your conversation with Francina, unless, of course, they get distracted. And then we'll catch back up in the bar car. So, how distracted are we in the Contessa's sleeping cabin?
I don't know. How distracted is the captain going to try and make her?
Do I have to play a card for this, really? All
I
right.
just need to know how much time elapsed and whether or not you're going to make it to the bar car before Iselina makes it through.
I play this, added to my great physique.
So, if you are going to be distracted, it's going to be however long you'd like it to be.
She's going to play that for her charisma.
Okay. So, we're going to fade to black, and I'm going to return to the bar car. Audience, please let your imaginations run wild. There's black lace involved. Hairpins that will have to be avoided, and
some
other
weird PvP
prodding objects. Iselina, that was a quick segue. So, bar car.
I'm just you hear me chattering with Esme and being like, oh, it's so refreshing to be on our honeymoon. It's not every day we get to spend time together and be together, and just hang out. And not just, there'll be plenty of time for fun later, but I'm glad that right now we have time for each other and aren't spending our entire honeymoon inside our bar car or inside our car, just enjoying each other.
Oh, yes. It's been interesting. We should do more adventures. I like this a lot.
See, and now we will have the opportunity to do it all. The sky is the limit at this point, and with the company, we like to keep, I guess now. With the company, we keep now. I think it will keep things interesting. If nothing else, at least knowing the Contessa. I'm sorry, there is just private chat happening on the side, and I'm just
purposely
trying
having
very
to
hard.
ignore it.
Trying very hard to ignore it. So my reactions are not for my beautiful wife, but more so for what I'm reading at the moment. It is with especially knowing the Contessa, I don't think there'd ever be a dull day if we do not wish there to be. And I've made some acquaintances across some organizations.
Yeah, that Talbot fellow seems kind of intriguing. I don't know what the Contessa doesn't like about him.
And I'll say this a little bit more quietly. I'll say I just believe that the Contessa does not enjoy the fact that she did not get to make her impression first. Instead, he did. And therefore unable to use any of her, let's say, abilities to get information from such a informed fellow. Let's put it nicely.
I think I understand. I'm more interested in all the things that he seems to be involved in. He seems to have more things going on than you do.
I would hope so for someone so high up in the rank. Maybe one day. I've always wanted to play a grander game.
It could be lots of fun. You'll notice in the bar car that there are two waiters. Tristan is out doing is on the platform at the time. About this time, though, he enters back into the bar car from the business he was taking care of outside the train. And he will nod to the two of you, and he will move to the bar, and the waiter who was stationed behind the bar, she moves out from behind the bar, letting Tristan take back over. And he puts two wine glasses up, but then pauses before grabbing a bottle, and kind of waits for your signal, Iselina, as to what the two of you are drinking this time, since you've switched it up on him a number of times.
What time of day is it?
It is, let's see, we're getting on toward 8 p.m., maybe 8, quarter after 8.
And I'll say, get us your, whatever would be your finest French red wine. We will take some of that.
Excellent choice. And he will turn and go to a different cabinet behind the bar, pull out a bottle, uncork it, and then pour 2 glasses for you.
And as I pick both up and I hand one to Esme, I will turn and say, I was just telling Esme that what you did was incredible. Are there people in this place with us?
Not at the moment. Most
us
people are headed to wherever their ticket would take them, so the conductors can kind of take a head count. So nobody was in the dining car other than the staff. Nobody's in the bar car except for the two of you and the staff.
Okay. All right. So I was just telling Esme that I was very, very impressed with your quick thinking.
Thank you.
A wonderful job, honestly.
It's one of many jobs I try to keep.
I have noticed, Tristan, a very interesting fellow you are. I'm very fortunate to have, made your acquaintance, if nothing else. You and yours have made our honeymoon the start of our honeymoon, very, very interesting.
He will pick up a glass from behind the bar that seems to have some sort of liquor in it. It is a tumbler, and he will lift it and say, "To the happy couple," and he'll take a drink himself and place it back behind the bar again.
Salud. And I will take a little shot. No, I take a small little drink of the wine. It's like, and I'll look over to Esme, and it's like, to my lovely wife.
She'll smile at you, and I say, "To my lovely wife," and take a drink herself.
It's like, after this, once we finally get off of this train,
Mm-hmm.
how would one, if ever need be, stay in contact with you? It seems like a very wayward lifestyle.
With me personally, or with
You personally?
my associates?
Yeah, with you personally. Tristan.
He will kind of raise a hand, like to wait a minute, and he'll turn, and behind the bar he picks up a pocketbook, and from it he produces a business card, and he turns it over and hands it to you, and on it is simply a mailing address.
I will keep this in mind, and I will stuff it down another pocket I have just on the side of my dress for important letters like that. And I will say I'll keep this one right there. And if ever, you find yourself in a place where, we could sit down and have a lunch together, feel free to contact us. Though I cannot tell you where I might be at any given time after this honeymoon, but I'm sure you know people who could find a way. In case you
Absolutely.
really need it.
And I want to stop right there for a second and say thank you to Godless Lawyer for the donation and the dramatic revelation that came of it. So before we move forward at the end of that conversation, we're going to go ahead and I'm going to pull a card. I will go ahead and set aside our dalliance cards because we're going to come back to those in a second. And I'm going to find out who it is that gets to boost one of their skills due to this revelation. It is the 3 of clubs that is revealed. And if we look at our screen, folks, we'll notice that there is a icon at the top of each screen. And Kenny is not with us tonight, so I am going to leave that to the group. Do we leave it for Clint to have a dramatic revelation behind the scenes that we can script in next week? Or shall I pull another card because he's not here?
I mean, unless Godless Lawyer wanted to give it specifically to someone, I'm okay with Clint having it when he comes back. I mean, the dramatic revelation will be like in the time that he was away from the party, so we might be able to tie that in.
Okay.
I'm making gestures with my hand off camera, so it doesn't really look like I'm doing anything.
Well, let's, Godless Lawyer, why don't you think about that? If you would like to give it to someone in particular, let me know in chat, and we can do that. Or come back next week to find out what that dramatic revelation is. Okay, awesome. So next week in the finale, we will find out what Clint's dramatic revelation was and how it played out while he's been away.
Turns into a dragon.
That would be very dramatic. Very, very dramatic.
Goodbye, Geneva.
So thank you again, Godless Lawyer. We appreciate you as always. So you got the business card or the calling card from Tristan. It actually doesn't have his name on it. It simply has an address. If I didn't say that before, I want to restate that. And you'll kind of wrap up there, and we'll make our way back to the parlor car, where we will bump into one Contessa and one captain upon our return from our break. So stick around for the next 5 to 10 minutes, right, Simon?
Yep, 5 to 10. We will be right back. Thank you so much for the donation, by the way, and thank you to, I think Punter Drone also subscribed while I wasn't looking. So thank you for that subscription. And thank you, Godless Lawyer, for the subscription too. So we'll see you in a couple minutes. Stick around, everyone. And we're back with a whining cat in the background.
Meow.
Mm-hmm.
All right, welcome back from the break. I hope you all took the time to refresh yourselves, just like we did. And as a reminder of what we had going on previously, this session, the Clint Smolder had walked off at the end of last session into the night into Geneva. Maybe after Lady Maribel, maybe not. And then Isolina and Esme made their way through the train, looking at the new people who are boarding. Isolina taking account as she does of the surroundings, looking for threats and other possible assassins for the captain. While the captain escorted the Contessa to the Contessa's sleeping cabin in order to check on the artifact to make sure that it was not stolen during all of the hubbub and fireball of last session. And sure enough, it was fine. It was still there in place where it needed to be. And then we found ourselves back in the sleeping cabin for a brief moment for a little flirtation and chemistry between the Contessa and the captain. And we left off right there with that queen of clubs to bolster the captain's physique as the Contessa's ace of hearts flirts with him, and we faded to black. Now we are back in the parlor car as Isolina and Esme, wine in hand, are making their way toward the sleeping cabins, and the Contessa and the captain, redressed and recomposed, I assume, are making their way to find Isolina and Esme. Yes?
Yeah. She's probably taking a couple extra minutes to fix her hair.
I'm not.
I would expect nothing less from the captain and his poor social graces.
She's okay with that. But she'd be like, oh, wait, I need... hold on, move. This one. And she'd pull the pin back out, put it back in her hair.
Isolina, what would you... do you want to try and usher them somewhere, or just tell them about what you found there in the parlor car? Again, like with the other cars, it's currently empty. There is no staff coming through. No, I shouldn't. I take that back. The first parlor car was not empty. It had about 8 people in it waiting for the conductor to come by and check their tickets. And then this second parlor car, which is the one that you're currently in, has 3 other people in it. This is also where the private cabin is for quieter conversations that you had been posted up in previously before the fireball happened.
We'd probably be heading back to that private sitting room.
Okay. So inside the sitting room, what would you like to debrief them on, Isolina?
I really didn't discover anything, right? There was just the weird looking people. There was that one waiter that is probably not rich but acts like it.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't, well, I mean, I will sit there and I will be like, well, we saw that monster, Lady Maribel's monster that we saw, a lot of stitching. It's very interesting. I'm surprised that no one noticed, at least none of us. Though I guess I did not really see this gentleman up close, so
I'm
was
also
a
kind of
difficult one.
surprised.
that they didn't kill the Capitan.
Oh no, I'm quite sure that he could have survived that. I'm kind of surprised that the Capitan didn't notice the stitching.
I'm sure the Capitan was busy looking at other things.
That's true.
With the lights off.
Except when he woke up with the gentleman sleeping in the room next to him.
With the lights off.
With the lights off, I couldn't see him.
He was very shadowy.
Okay.
Yep, absolutely. I'm sure neither of us would have noticed in that situation. Not at all.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing odd, not even an odor, nothing. I mean, they're only dead.
And surprisingly enough, there was no odor until the ichor spilled out. For those of you that were on the platform.
But it was a beautiful killing blow, Selena. I will give him that. He did a very good job. He knows how to use his weapon appropriately.
And I clock the moment they walked in here. There was no hiding that, especially with the Capitan looking like the cat who caught a canary. Just like
Yeah, but the Contessa looks a lot happier. It looks a lot more smug than he does.
I'm just completely. This is that conversation. This is me going around it and going on. Am I crackling? No, right?
No.
You're fine.
Okay, good. Because I smacked my mic and I was scared. Well, there is also Clint who do not know where they went. But they had a very cool gun that shot a very cool bomb fire thing. Very, very dope.
Yes, I sent a bunch of policemen after the good lady Maribel. Apparently, she likes to bomb train platforms. It was most surprising. I didn't even know that she was I had no idea that was a thing, or that the bag that she was carrying contained such a thing.
Yes, and Tristan saw the exact same thing. In fact, Esme, I do believe, made it a very, very interesting conversation with the policeman, showing them exactly all of the components that were in the location.
Yes.
Comprised the bomb.
I made sure that they that they properly collected all of the pieces that were left of the bomb that was placed on that wagon by Lady Maribel.
Well, that's at least one thing in the right order. So, Capitan, you've moved up from just, thugs and criminals and necromancer once you're dead.
I mean, on the one hand, I figure necromancers are much rarer in the world than thugs and hired killers. So maybe they'll leave me alone for a bit.
The hugs and tired killers or the necromancers?
Oh, I mean everyone.
Oh, that's very, what is that word? Optimistic of you.
Do you think she wasn't hired? Why would a necromancer want you dead? Oh, wait. They like the dead. Didn't you stay the night with her? Maybe she had an infatuation with you.
No, I think she wanted to kill him because she was going to be paid for it. And then, anything she did afterwards was her own pleasure.
Qui pro quo. Oh, that's
Exactly.
hard to say with that accent. Yes.
Or I'm thinking that... I don't know. I don't know what to think anymore about her. She's gone, and that's all that matters, I figure. We've let one necromancer loose in the world. That's a problem.
Well,
I will say it was just, I did believe that her wardrobe was very interesting.
it wasn't as well tailored as mine.
But an interesting choice, nonetheless.
Eh,
I didn't get a good look. What was she wearing?
a very bad black dress.
Was she in mourning?
No,
Perpetually, maybe.
Or she's choosing an aesthetic.
Might it have been a taunt for the captain?
Maybe
I
not the
wouldn't-
captain.
It could have been a taunt for the captain. It could have been a taunt for anybody. I have a question though. Good Capitan, the last time you saw the Lady Maribel before she blew up the train platform, what color was she wearing or favoring
Color?
of the dress that you helped her with?
You mean before we got together?
Yes.
I don't recall.
Men. The little things are important.
Well, she had big things that were more important to me.
Mm-hmm. I'm very aware. But those little things can be just as important. Sometimes more so. I do, however, I listened when you were talking to the good police captain. She had a tattoo.
Yes, on her thigh.
Could you maybe describe that?
The thigh or the tattoo?
The tattoo.
Host! I have in my notes, tattoo on the thigh.
Uh-huh.
I don't recall the shape. I'm sorry.
No worries. How much attention did the captain pay to it? There were lots of things to pay attention to.
Yes. Sex is so confusing. I figure as much...
I was talking about the number of erogenous zones, but sure, we can go with confusion if that's the captain's style.
I will abstain from making so many comments. I figure probably like average. I have an average perception. I probably paid attention to it as we were together, but that's it.
Okay.
Like enough that I probably recall the general shape,
Mm-hmm.
color, maybe not intricate details.
So Lady De Winter with the brand on her shoulder.
Not quite. It was a symbol of some sort, something that you didn't recognize. You think it may have been something mystical, but sorcery is totally not, like magical things is not your forte. So your best guess would be some sort of magical symbol.
Could you maybe describe it?
Magical symbol. And I described the general shape of what it is.
Kind of star-shaped, kind of octagons with swirly bits. He had other very important things to keep his eyes on.
Apparently. Why do I need this? I'm just gonna play it for the one. Does that sound at all familiar in any general shape or form? Now that I know that she's a necromancer.
I mean, if it really was star-shaped, like if that part's true, sure. Like it could be a pentagram of some sort. That's classically associated with necromancy and other dark arts in general. The octagon part that he mentions doesn't really ring a bell. So you're not 100% sure. And the swirly bits thing is
Yeah, not
Like,
descriptive.
who knows what that means? But you're not 100% sure. You think probably just a pentagon, and the rest of it he just didn't really pay that close attention to. That would be
Pen-
your best guess.
A pentagon or a pentagram?
I'm sorry, pentagram.
Okay. Well, that's useful. Thank you so much.
It didn't seem important at the time.
Good to know. So, a necromancer wants you dead and is willing to be paid. What exactly did you see in Africa that would piss off this many people that want you dead? I mean, this is a lot of effort for you'll excuse me, lowly captain.
They were doing things. What is this? Oh. They were doing things, and even wow, why isn't it on my sheet? Wow. Well, I screwed myself up with that. Chris, I'm gonna need your help.
Okay. So you came across a excavation, a dig of some sort, where they were raiding some sort of burial ground. You noticed that they were pulling out some golden icons of some sort. You didn't get a really good idea of what that was. And then in the end, none of that mattered because there was that big electrical storm.
Yes.
And that machine in that lake that shouldn't have been there. And that's what grabbed your attention. That's also what crashed your ship.
Yes, the giant machine.
Mm-hmm.
Aha, now I remember. I can even go and get... Do you mind if I go grab the image to describe?
No, go for it.
Okay. So there was this dig in Africa where it seems like they were digging out graves, robbing tombs or something. Well, you know, your average bad guy pillaging tombs and what have you. Except that they had something different. There was a lake there that shouldn't have been. A machine was set in the lake. And I'm scrolling down the pages like crazy to try to find it. Wait, where is it? Hey, that's not the page that I was looking for. What's the name of the machine again? It's the weather machine, right?
I am pulling it up myself right now.
I thought it was on page 48. I'm sorry, everyone.
Where'd you go? My infernal machines. There we go.
Yeah,
Don't worry. During this time where the Capitan seems to be extremely pensive, more pensive than we've ever seen him, I am instead taking Marcelo out of his pouch, and I'm now holding him and allowing him to like curl into a ball, then uncurl into a ball, and like go into my other hand, and then like I do like a little slide, little hook thing
found
as
it.
I wait.
Sorry. It looked like a hot air balloon. Except it wasn't. It's like they dug a hole in the center of the lake, and they were powering this gigantic orb. And it was... Well, I don't know exactly what it did, but it made us crash. That's all I recall. Giant vibrating orb in the middle of a lake.
And
it
what were you
shook
driving
you
at the time?
straight out of the sky.
Yeah.
We're in a plane at the time, Capitan?
Yes, I was in my airship. Well, technically something that looks like the stealth airship. Like a smaller airship.
This is why I don't fly, Selena. I'm not doing that again.
That's not even happened to you once. What are you speaking of?
We were on that airship once. I don't need to do that ever again.
It was fun. Next time you will come with us, that's when you will see it was a lot of fun.
Oh, I imagine
but-
it was quite wonderful.
But as I'm wondering, to bring down a ship, it would have to be some sort of effect on the electricity, or maybe some sort of storm, magnetic storm. I'm thinking one or the other. What are your thoughts on something that can bring down the ship with that sort of power?
Did it feel like it was a pulling, or did it feel like you were like knocked off course?
I feel like I was knocked off course.
It wouldn't have been magnetic then if it didn't pull him. I would say it had something to do with concussive force, some sort of...
Like a shockwave through the
Yeah,
sky?
yes. Shockwave in the sky. If it would have been concentrated in the ground, you could have leveled buildings. Concentrated in the air, you could knock ships out of the sky.
So it's a weapon.
Oh, definitely. Or if it wasn't, it's going to be weaponized at some point by some unscrupulous nation. Russia!
But did you said it was in a man-made lake?
That lake didn't figure on any map that I knew of. So I think that... I don't know if what they did with the dead and everything was just a sideline, and because they so happened to be in the vicinity of tombs that they decided to rob them.
Waste not,
mean,
want
so-
not.
But that lake must have been... It came out of nowhere. It
If, depending on how they constructed it, the water would absorb some of the shockwave, and they could keep themselves from having any sort of residual effect. If they didn't control it very well, then it would have like radiated out into the air, which would have what happened to the ship that you were in. Or they targeted you if they saw you in the air and tried to use it against you.
A test run, possibly.
Do you remember vaguely where in Africa you were? I mean, it's a very large continent.
South Africa? No.
It's in the elbow, not the elbow, well, the interior.
Côte d'Ivoire?
Yeah, Côte d'Ivoire.
Well, that's interesting.
I knew it was a French colony, I just couldn't remember which one.
Or Benin. So West Africa.
Yeah, it was a little bit more central. So
Yeah.
this would have been north and east of Lake Chad.
So
it would
closer
have
to
been
Mali.
Yeah, at that time period. So in the shared drive, I have an late 1800s map that we're going to use as the general layout of the countries of that time. Would have technically been in that green section of the Sudan near Lake Chad.
So much further east.
Yes, more in the center of it, just south of the Sahara Desert.
Okay. So out in the middle of nowhere. Good to know.
Yep.
So you saw them with a weapon. You saw them robbing graves. You saw them raising the dead, or just animating it.
I don't think they were animating anything. I think they were just pillaging.
Alrighty then.
But I mean, it could have been that they have necromancer allies and they were paying them in bones or something.
Paying them in something.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure
Probably everything else.
the gold idols and everything were used to pay for whatever help they had in constructing that device.
Did you happen to report any of this to your commanders or superiors?
No, right after we crashed, we had to flee. We didn't have any radio, no way to communicate. We made our way as best we could up north. We quickly realized that they were after us. So out and open communication was out of the question. I figured once we got to Munich, we'd be safe. Traveling incognito with whatever funds we had.
Well,
They still killed 2 of my men.
I'm sorry for your loss.
Was it a large machine?
It was an immense machine.
So moving it from place to place would take tremendous effort.
And likely resources.
From Africa all the way to Europe.
But you
Specifically,
don't have-
probably Russia.
But you don't necessarily have to move the machine itself. If you can prove that it works, then all you need to move is the designer and the plans.
And rebuild it elsewhere.
That would still take tremendous resources and something that people would take notice of if you ask the right people.
So we need to figure out who the Prussians... Well, we know the Prussians are doing business with the
World Crime League.
Crime League. If you're commissioning an item such as this, then that could change make things a little bit more... Might have to refocus a little bit. All right. Well then, number 1 priority is keeping you alive, at least until we get to Munich, and then you can escort me to my event, and then we can get you introduced to the right people so that you can inform them of what's going on. It's hard to have a witness if the witness is dead.
Very
Yeah.
true.
And everything else is a bonus.
I mean, working for you certainly has its perks.
Oh, I'm not paying you for that, dear. That was just fun. A lot of fun, actually.
Like a queen of club kind of level of fun.
More fun than definitely the Duke. Also
I
more
was
fun
a
than the
bit-
Count. That is true. The Duke was... I mean, he was Austrian. What do you expect? The Count... Slightly more fun than I had in Nice over the winter. More fun than Barcelona.
Well then,
Definitely more fun than Barcelona.
somewhere Oberon is just going, oh,
Compliment one character and diss the other.
Yep.
No way. Well, then it's.
But let's be honest, Oberon didn't notice didn't notice any of the tactical flirting that the Contessa was doing for an extended period of time. So the captain is already ahead on a lot of things.
Very true.
Where's
that
Clint?
is- Clint ran off into the city. I thought you might have seen him.
I saw him ran off, but I thought he'd be back by now. The train is going to leave soon.
Well,
In
he had
about
to.
an hour and
spend-
40 minutes.
He
Oh.
went off to send a message. No. Did we know that? Did I know that?
No, I
I'm
think
not sure.
you.
No.
Did he say to
Well, then-
anybody why he ran off?
When-
Before everything all hell broke loose, he was planning on talking to Lady Graven and then also sending a message, either through her or through some other means.
Okay.
So I think that's what you're referring to, Isolina, yes?
Yes, because now that because we know that she's dead, that's why he's so mad, right?
But we have no idea if that's why he left.
No, but I have to assume
Mhm.
there has to be reasons. Maybe he went off to send a message to those he works for to inform them of the lady's passing.
That could be
Also,
it.
Oh,
an update on the job, possibly.
I forgot we still had about 2 hours.
When you guys started your dalliance, there was about 2 hours and just under 30 minutes left before the train leaves.
So, if we have 2 hours before Clint comes back, it's like having a whole season anyway. So should I go get drinks?
I mean, why don't you just pull the little tab and have them come to us? It's what they're there for. And you never know,
Oh.
maybe Signore Talbot will show up and we can actually have a conversation with the gentleman.
About then, there's a knock at the door before you actually even pull the tab.
If it's Talbot, I swear to God. I
Ah.
open the door.
So hard.
It's a conductor, not one that you recognize. It says, "Tickets. I just need to confirm your reservations before we let the new people on."
Yes.
I'm sorry, who are you again?
My name is George.
George, it's very nice to meet you. I have some notes about the current status of the customer service on this train. I'm the Contessa
And-
Lucrezia Sophia Fioravanti, by the way.
Nice to meet your acquaintance, madam. Those are important notes, I'm sure, and I heard that there was some unpleasantness on the
Two
last leg of
dead
the
bodies are not unpleasant. 3 is a bit aggressive.
trip. Yes, ma'am.
George?
Mhm.
Can I call you Talbot? I'm going to call you Talbot. Listen here.
I don't think that's the gentleman's name.
If that's what you'd like to call me, that's fine. I don't know that I'll remember to answer each time, though. 'Cause
That's
it's not my name.
You keep saying that, Talbot.
But we know we know what Benjamin looks like.
Yes, you do. And it
And
does
this
not
isn't
look
him.
anything like George.
It could be a
Do you think-
disguise.
Do you think Oberon, I mean not Oberon, sorry, the captain paid attention? He doesn't remember the color of the dress of the person he was with.
No, but I remember that. I didn't even remember the tattoo.
There's a
probably.
tattoo.
You don't even
that had
remember
swirly
the
bits.
tattoo? Like we think he didn't notice the
She had,
Falkenstein.
she had other bits that were more entertaining than the tattoo.
Honestly, I should've-
At this point, I don't think he remembers what those were like either. Like I think
I
you
know.
know.
I should
Not
have
I'm
after-
sure the
changed.
captain remembers that.
I should have changed my social graces from poor to normal and just put my perception from average to poor.
This
I mean, how much does he? Never mind. I'm gonna leave that one alone.
LFIC, not a whole lot.
That wasn't where I was going, but we're gonna leave that alone.
Talbot, yes. Tickets. Here it is. Right?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
You all have your tickets on you.
I was afraid that was like you're gonna say like no, you don't.
No, no. There's.
And by the way, part of what the Contessa said was true. There was a dead person in my bed.
3.
No,
Three
but there
dead people
Only
in
one
your
in the
bed?
bed.
yeah, no.
Only one in his bed.
Yeah, one in my
Oh.
bed. Which I think is a health hazard.
Sounds very traumatic, sir. Yes, probably.
Could I be moved to one of your upscale's private bedrooms to compensate for my trauma and the fact that there was a dead person in my bed, Talbot?
I will let the lead conductor know that is your request, sir. I do believe that all of those cabins are booked, but I will ask Rolf.
Oh,
Rolf is
no,
a good
we don't
friend
know
of
that
mine.
happened. Rolf
I
is a
should
so
remember.
friend of yours.
Shut up.
Frederick or
I mean, the other two are dead, aren't they? There's just
no,
one
no,
left.
no, Rolf
Right.
and the young one, which is
Right.
Frederick. Frederick?
But
Rodrigue.
Frederick.
Lady Graffin was supposed to get off in Geneva,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah, and then had transferred her room to Clint.
Ah, shit. I thought I could get her room.
Well,
Bunking in somebody else's.
Looks like I'm gonna have to bunk with the Contessa.
I'm sure she might let you do that.
They
I
hung
thought that's
good
what
luck
that
Queen of
was
Clubs
an audition for. I thought that was like, your roommate interview.
Yeah, probably.
If we all have our tickets, then Talbot, I think you're gonna be on your way.
Yes. Unless, of course, there was anything else you wanted to.
Could you please let
Inform
Tristan
him of.
know that we need a couple more bottles in here? Thank you very much, darling.
I will do so, ma'am. Thank you.
His
You can
disguise was
hear-
very good.
As the door shuts, you can hear an audible sigh, exasperated sigh, as not like he's trying to passive aggressively, but just like as he's walking away, like, wow, that was a lot.
Poor guy. It's probably his first day.
It's his first day for this particular trip. Yes.
Well, he walked. Sorry to
No,
be him, but he walked onto a train with 3 dead bodies, and
Mm-hmm.
I have
Speaking-
comments. I have notes. There will be a 1-star Yelp review. No.
I do say, oh, speaking of the help, I did notice, I don't know if you've had the chance to see them, Contessa, but there was a waitress who, very interesting. She ate. I was trying to see if I could scour my brain for any information that I remember of how to eat, good etiquette while eating in like higher class situations. But I don't remember anything. Therefore, I'm just going to pretend I do. So I noticed that there was a waitress who was sitting with a very interesting hairstyle that I definitely saw a lady, Senora Marquez, wearing at the theater the other day. And I also noticed that she ate. Well, I entered the dining car while they were eating. I noticed that she ate with she placed out her utensils, fork, little fork, other fork, and then the other utensils that I'm sure have a specific way. Do you put them down on the table? It was very interesting to see that.
So interesting. Which waitress was this?
This was the older one that had a little bit. But there's a lot of new ones, a lot of turnaround. I think she's the
She
only
would have been
one we
older
recognized.
than Iselina, but younger than the Contessa. Blonde hair.
the slightly older than me, blonde hair. Like I do this as if that's how it is. Blonde hair.
Do I recall seeing her at all in the dining car at any point?
Briefly, but there were a lot of other interesting things to pay attention to in the dining car.
This is true.
So
I believe she was there during the incident with all of the hedgehogs.
yes, she was one of the 3 wait staff that were manning the dining car when the hedgehogs were let loose.
And I am about 80-20 on whether or not she is of someone of better blood, or if she is someone who is hoping to get there one day.
We'll probably figure it out eventually.
Just something to keep an eye out. If
Oh,
I
yes.
have a waiter.
Things that are off should be paid attention to, particularly if we want to keep the good Capitan alive, which, at this point, he's definitely worth keeping alive.
I'll just say, notice to pay attention that if she ever is the one who delivers anything to us,
She could
maybe
be.
pay extra attention to it.
Do you want me to go speak with her?
I don't know. The last woman you went to go speak with who wasn't one of us ended up trying to kill you. So there's that.
I know, but at least we'd get that out of the way.
If you can do it, then I can stand at the doorway and maybe see her, because this is the problem. If I had seen Lady Maribel by any other point, or somebody, had known her last name, or whatever last name she was going by, I could have possibly ruled out a whole bunch of things. This is what happens.
I think it would be an okay. If anything, I think it would be fun. I do not think she is a big fan of me at the moment, but
Oh. Am I supposed to make myself even worse or better in comparison?
probably better.
Ah, alright.
Probably better. I would go with better. I was just a little bit kinder to her co-workers than I was to her.
Very good. We'll see that you'll use that. Alright, Capitan. Let's see what you can do in a more public setting.
I'm gonna straighten up my jacket.
You might want to fix your hair.
I fix my hair in a ponytail. Oh no, wait. I make a man bun.
Oh, that's a choice.
And where was she, Miss Selena?
Last time
Dining
I
car?
noticed them, they were dining.
And that was roughly how long ago? Because I figured they're probably done.
Like 30 minutes ago.
Yeah. They would have been done and cleaned up by then.
Let's go check the dining car anyway. Maybe we're gonna see her.
Well, if she's a waitress, then she might be around there, or at least nearby.
Yeah.
If we're lucky, she's the one bringing us our stuff.
Let's... Oh, we can just ask whoever brings us our stuff who
yeah,
she
what they
is.
are.
Yeah.
Very useful. We can do that.
Better yet, we get our drink. I say as I finish the rest of my glass.
Yeah, I do need a one. I'm a little bit parched.
And it's about then that there's a knock at the door.
Yes?
It's Talbot.
I have your drinks.
Thank you. And she's going to open the door.
It's a waiter, someone different than you've seen before. Put together, about the same, dark hair, olive complexion.
Well, thank you. I'm sorry. You are?
Carl.
Carl. So pleased to meet you. Does he ping in any way, shape, or form on whatever... In any way, shape, or form?
Nope.
Cool. Well then. Oh, Carl, I'm so sorry. Iselina, you were saying that you wanted to talk to what was the woman's name?
Oh, I don't believe I caught it. You think you would know her? She has the blonde hair, a little bit older than me. Looks. Here are other things I noticed about her that I'm gonna tell you at this moment to help you identify her.
She's been on the train the entire time.
Well, I just got on the trains, and I believe that must have been Alania.
Ah, Alania. Would we're so sorry to do this, but would you be such a dear and see if you could have her come say hello?
I can see if I can find her. I have to get ready for guests and for us to leave, though, so it may take me a moment.
I'm sure you'll be very able to find her as she slips him a 5.
Okay. I will do my best, ma'am.
Thank you, darling.
You'll notice that there is a corked but open bottle of wine. Iselina, you will recognize it as the bottle of wine Tristan poured your glasses from, as well as an uncorked bottle of wine and a bottle of scotch. One wine glass and two tumblers, one with ice, one without.
See, Tristan is such a dear. I will have to make a note about how he does superior service and to not make sure that he doesn't suffer from anything. Well then, are we waiting? And she kind of pours the wine for herself, and she's gonna sniff it to make sure, because it's open, to make sure it's not any of the noticeable poisons.
No, nothing that you would notice. It is a red wine. Definitely French, definitely high end. From the bottle, you can also tell that the bottle's label. It is a high end bottle of red from the south of France.
Well, that is very nice. I'm going to sit here and enjoy this for a moment. Can I get you anything?
It is what me and Esme had a little bit earlier today.
Ah, well then I'm sure it'll be fabulous. Can I get you anything, Capita?
I got my bottle here.
Enjoy it, Jonathan.
She called me Jonathan.
No.
What did you say?
Well, I guess I went there. I said, "Oh, you're in trouble." I am going to. I'm going to take one of the chairs closest to the window, and I am going to sit very annoyingly, very much like I'm supposed to sit, but with a little bit of haughtiness, over in the corner, and look out at the window, and I'll gesture for Esme to sit like across from me, so we can
Okay.
have like a conversation there, or look like we're having one at least. While we wait for this waitress to come, and
Okay.
I'm sure the Contessa knows what I'm trying to play at here. And so we can play our good cop, bad cop this time in the reverse. Because I accidentally played bad cop first.
Go right ahead. You can play bad cop this time. We can trade. It's fine.
And so the captain. Oh, I will tell the captain because he's the captain. Capitan. Feel free to use your wiles on her if you wish. To get just to see what she wants, if she wants anything from you.
How dare she say if?
I will show you elven wiles. Like you've never seen it before.
Well, I mean, I saw it. It was very good.
I didn't use it on you.
Oh, that. Enjoy that. Haven't seen that ever. Heard stories, though.
I pop my collar. I unbutton one button.
Do you have like a big gold chain stuck under there or something?
Yeah. Ton of bling in it. No, but I fuss my hair a bit to look stylishly bedraggled.
I mean, if you want to do it that way, or I could help you do it the right way, but sure, go with that.
Hey, look, my highest stat is cunnliness, alright?
Go right ahead.
Whatever I do, I look fashionable.
You do. You look fabulous.
Absolutely, positively. So, as Isolina and Esme engage in a conversation with cute little squeaky undertones, with Arsenio and Marcelo having their own conversation, and the Contessa posted up, this time closer to the door, since Isolina and Esme took the seats by the window. And the captain primed and ready to pounce. We turn to the unsuspecting waiter who's walking her way toward the parlor car, a little confused as to why she's been requested. And we're going to end our episode there as she's approaching this interesting escapade that's about to unveil itself. Thank you all for showing up. Thank you all for participating. We appreciate each and every one of our viewers, both here and on the VODs. We hope you enjoyed tonight and our little escapades, and come back in 2 weeks for our finale of season 2. Take it away, Simon.
She's gonna open the door to that room. It's gonna stink of alcohol, and 3 slightly inebriated people are just gonna grill her or try to seduce her into saying things that she has. I really hope she's there to kill me. Because otherwise, we're all doing that to a poor lady who doesn't deserve any of this.
Look, she's gonna
She's
get
sketchy.
all. She's sketchy, and also she's getting a tip later down the line.
You think the captain's that good?
Well,
Tuck it
I
in his
mean,
collar as he walks away with her.
he's definitely a queen of clubs. Good.
We'll see if there can be a repeat performance of that. I mean, that's 2 in a row already. 3rd time's a charm, right?
Yeah.
He'll have a stalker this time.
The only thing she did wrong. The only thing she did wrong was to eat proper.
Oh, she.
She ate as someone from above her station, and she's gonna get shit for it.
It's Sante Ramirez all over again.
Well, you put interesting characters there, Chris. We're gonna. Mm-hmm.
Oh, you guys wanted interesting. I make sure I layer it with interesting.
Look, I couldn't let a lot of time pass. You know, we still have to wait for her.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
Clint's
we'll
gonna
miss-
come. Huh? Sorry.
Otherwise, we'll miss Clint.
Yeah.
Yeah. He'll come back to just see this poor maid come out of the room crying. And be like,
Well,
"What-
if she comes out of the room crying, that proves that Von Brandt isn't as good as he claims.
Oh.
how do you kick people from a Zoom meeting?
I love you, Simon.
So, thank you everyone for coming. Thank you all of you for playing. Thank you, Chris, for hosting. Thank you to those of you watching on the VODs. Thank you for the subscriptions. Thank you for the hosts, for all of you who hung out in chat, for all the donations. I am Simon at Wandering DM. This was our penultimate Castle Falkenstein episode. We will return in 2 weeks for the finale with Clint Smolder, who's going to have his dramatic revelation. Remember that all of our streams here are sponsored. All of our streams are sponsored, yeah, plural, by Magen Press. If you want to go check their books at store.magenpress.com, you can even use code WanderingDM to get 15% off. Before we go and raid one of our friends, let's just go around the table. Tell us who you are, what you have going on in your lives, and where we can find you on the internet. And we will start with PB.
Hi, I'm PB from PB Plays Inside, where you can find me on Twitch, Twitter, and Instagram. This is October, and we're doing some fun variety streaming. Not all scary games, because my heart can't take that, because I am not a scary game type of human being. But you can expect to see some games such as The Walking Dead first season that I'm going to be playing through, which maybe to you is not scary, definitely scary to me. Then we're going to be also playing through some other scary games that I can't think of at this very moment. Oh, a game called Tattletale, and if you know what that is, well then you'll look forward to seeing me play it, because that's going to freak me out. To give you a short synopsis, it is a game where you are carrying around a malfunctioning thing that looks a lot like a Furby. So if you grew up in that time and era, those things were terrifying, and you can only imagine what this game is going to be like. And aside from that, I'm also participating in Inktober. Little by little, we're getting things done. You can follow me on Instagram to see the things I get done there, and also on Twitter to see the post that's going to be over on Instagram. So aside from that, on Saturdays I play. This Saturday I'm going to be playing over on Experience Points, over with who in this show plays Clint Smolders. We have Kenny, who's our GM in that game. We're running a great game of, oh god, Dawn of Embers, I think is what it's called. And it's a lot of fun. Very interesting. I do believe we're having a new cast member come in tomorrow. And if you're interested in watching that, that'll be 1 p.m. Central Standard Time, I believe. And aside from that, I hope you guys are having a great night.
And Deirdre, where can we find you?
Oh, hey all, you know me. I'm at Deirdre Donlin on Twitter, or Praxagorth Esmiaphoria, as you see me hanging out in the Twitch chat, and you can find me here a lot. Not tomorrow, because we will not be having Vampire tomorrow, but I will be back here on Tuesday for some Dark Matter, and, seeing what else Simon can do to top a Mega Tarrasque. Yes, that word just came out of my mouth, because a Tarrasque isn't scary enough. But on Monday, I'll be over on Role Players for some Age of Arcana fun, and and I'm loving that. That's a great thing. Come check that out. Also, in other things, if you check my pinned tweet on Twitter, I released the first game I ever wrote for myself. Check that out. Let me know what you think. Hope you all enjoy it. Other than that, check my Twitter, because I always post where I'm going to be, and I look forward to seeing you next time.
And Chris, where can we find you?
Well, Chris Geary, you can find me on Twitter at Chris Geary. And in 2 weeks, on October 18th, you can find me back here again as the host of Adventures in Castle Falkenstein for our grand finale of Season 2. I'm looking forward to it. This has been a lovely ride, and we hope to see you all again. October 18th. Save the date and the time, 8 p.m. Eastern.
Yep, we'll remind everyone on Twitter as well to make sure that we have as many people as possible for the finale. In the meantime, let's go raid our friends Jess over at Little Cup of Joe. She's playing anime-related Otomi High School something. I forgot the name of it already, but it's a TTRPG, so let's go and check her out. She's fantastic, and her games are always filled with smooches and feels. And we will see you again in 2 weeks. Ciao, everyone.